My name's Stuart and welcome to Chronicle Arts. So what I'm going to be doing today is starting a painting series on Renegade Studios Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid, which came out, I think it was 2019, the board game came out. So I've played it a few times, really good game, really hard game if you're playing with less than 5 players. And even then, still quite difficult. So we're going to pop over and we're going to have a look at the basic game, what it comes with, and get started on painting the main monsters, the Putty Patrollers. I'll catch you guys over there. So here it is, guys. This is the basic game, beautiful cover. Let's just open it up and see what's inside. Here you can see the first layer in the box. We've got our 12 Putty Patrollers in the middle and our 12 Super Putties up and down. On this layer we've got the rest of our monsters and rangers. Down here we've got our cards for our rangers, our monster battle cards, and our actual characters. Underneath we've got our dice. These are clear ones, but you can get ones that are coloured for your rangers. We'll put that back in. Underneath I've got everything here, so we've got our rulebook. Still a bit confusing in the rules. Some things they don't really go into detail, but really well illustrated, and the details on how to play are there, and you know, it works. And it's essential. We've also got our power tokens, our battle tokens, I think these are our turn tokens and our Megazord token. So we all start off as always, command center, pivotal point, you need that. And the main bits around the whole thing are important locations throughout the show. So we've got Industrial District where usually most fights take place, Ernie's Bar for when you're chilling, iconic. The park where I think like the industrial estate always fighting, and the high school. This is your main board for your Megazords. Every time you beat a monster, they get put on and added to your Megazord's power track, and once all filled, you can summon it. So here's my model. This is a box, but since I got this a long time before I actually got the board game, he is already painted up. This model took me like a week or so to paint. I just took my time to get it done. The sword is removable, which is awesome. Yeah, it is just fantastic to have the model. Let's jump into the putties. So here you can see one of the normal putties. Most of the monster models, I think if not all the monster models, come in grey plastic. And we'll move over to Super Putty. These ones are slightly bigger, two-headed, do a bit more damage than normal putties. They were not in the original, they're just from the movie. So pop out and have a look at those. So what we're going to do is get rid of the mold lines on the side. As you can see, they can be pretty bad. They get better. Clean it with the back of my knife, just because it's not an overly hard plastic, so we don't want to like scrape too much off and get massive chunks away. It comes away fairly easy. I should have sanded it, but I don't actually have any sanding sticks at this point in time. So like I said, I'm using the back of my blade, not the front, because then you do silly things like stabbing yourself, like I did the other day. So once we make sure we've got all of our mold lines away, there's more under the arms and across. You just have to look sometimes to put it in really stupid places, like across the faces or in really hard places to reach. So now that we have those sprayed, I went for a zenithal of grey and white, which in my opinion was stupid. I rectify that. For these, I'm using Halfords. Here I'm using a combination of Apothecary White and Basilicanum Grey contrast paints from Citadel. That's just a 50-50 mix, and we're going to put that over as a wash. Try and fill in the silly mistake of putting a white primer on top. And we'll have a look, see what that's like once it's done. Now that's dry, we're going to dry brush some Wizard Grey. You can do this up and down, make sure it's done in the same direction, or like I do at some point, you'll see me going around in a circular motion. And that's what it looks like once it's done. We're going to do a second dry brush of charcoal grey next. The same process, just try and get top to bottom and a circular motion to try and hit all those top edges. And this is where I did my first mistake and didn't click record when I was putting on another set. Here we're going to use some white scar. Now we're going to focus on doing the eyes. For this we're going to use some Berserker Red and a smaller brush just to try and get into those finer details. It will be a lot easier on the normal putties since they only have one head. And their arms don't get in the way as much. So now we're going to do a second layer and we're just going to use Sanguine Scarlet. Try and get it more in the center of the eye and try and leave a little bit of an outline as we're going in of the Berserker Red. That way it gives us more definition in the eye. And after that's dry, we're going to do the same again, try and get a smaller bit just of Demon Red. This doesn't have to be much, it's just pretty much just going to be like more or less a single line. Try and get those eyes to pop, make it look like they're glowing. And we'll see the end of this. And there we go, nice beautiful glowing red eyes. And if you want to add a little bit more flair, you can just get in here and just add a little touch of white star even. More or less add a pupil, just so it gives more definition of where they're looking and not just, well, what they are. And just like here, if you made any mistakes, it's easy enough just to go with the colour used previously and just touch those up. Now that the model's done, we're going to cover that base, and for that we're using Doom Death Black. Make sure to be careful not to get any of the black paint on the feet or any part of the model that you don't really want to be black. This can be really difficult, especially with a model this big on a silly small base. Now the base is done, we're going to give them varnish. For this we're using Citadel's Technical Storm Shield. Give it more of a matte finish, try and get that all over. And there we have it. So if you pretty much follow all the steps for this, you'll be able to get all your putties done, and here we'll see. And this here is all my putties. And here you can see all my completed putties, which took longer than expected. Thanks everybody for joining me painting the Putty Patrollers. I hope you all enjoyed what you've seen. If you did, hit that notification bell, like and subscribe. And as the Great Zoran says, may the power protect. Catch us in the next one.